Welcome back to The Boys in the Iceberg, a podcast where we watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. As always, I'm Caleb Bader.
And I am Harley Davis.
And guys, a couple of great episodes again today. I really enjoyed them. We got Bato of the Water Tribe.
And the Deserter.
Yeah, the Deserter. That's not... Is that someone who makes, like, cakes and stuff?
Yes. Yes, it is.
He's a firebending cake boss.
Cake boss.
He's the cake boss of the Avatar world.
He's just the cake bender, actually. What they
The
call
cake
him.
bender, yeah. What? Okay. Moving on for all jokes aside.
Some jokes aside.
Our first episode is Bato of the Water Tribe. Harley, why don't you get us into this episode?
Yeah, okay. I enjoyed it, but the entire time I watched it, like the first time I ever watched it, I assumed Bato was going to be this guy that was just going to mislead the kids.
Like an evil guy?
Yeah, like he was just
like in disguise.
Like he was just two-faced, like he was playing both sides.
He was like the evil uncle, like that's Scar.
That's what I assumed he was going to be. Maybe it was all that liking that I watched as a kid. But I'm just like, oh man, this guy's going to turn these kids in because he's the Avatar. Like they pretend not to notice the Avatar. Like he just like, oh, the Avatar. Like he keeps mentioning it, but they keep ignoring him.
Like all the time. Like they don't even bother to get what he's saying.
Well, I like when Aang tries to talk in the episodes when he starts to say something and like the background music starts to swell up and it's like this joyous music and they're just like, no, Aang, shut up.
Yeah. He's talking about like this one time where he rode an eel. And you get like this score in the background that comes up like it's just this epic story, and then it just cuts off when they interrupt him.
Yeah, Sokka interrupts him like 3 times about something that smells good or food.
Yeah, I didn't like Sokka in both of these episodes.
I
thought he was being
he's being aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive, especially towards Aang.
Well, Aang was being kind of an idiot sometimes.
I don't know. In the first episode, I can see that. In the second episode, I don't know about that. I think that he was justified.
In the second episode, when he does the whole jumping in front of Katara with the flame thing, with the flame dragon, that made me mad. That was unnecessary, and I don't know why Sokka didn't get mad about that.
Why he didn't get mad about that?
Why he did not get mad about that. Like, he got mad about him
oh, yeah, I see what you're
hurting Katara, but didn't get mad about the whole...
Yeah, let's not talk about the second episode yet.
Let's dive into the first one.
We're going to get back in the first one.
What were your overall thoughts about the first one?
I like the first one. Some of the stuff like the I could have done without the water, or the like the iceberg challenge.
Oh, where
they have to...
His rite of passage.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage that Sokka gets from Bato, and saying that he has to lead a ship through an iceberg field. Before we get into that trial so much, let's go back to the beginning of the episode where they actually are... they make way too many stops, I feel like. I feel like they should just fly to the northern water tribe.
Yeah, you're saying like that, like they spend too much time stopping instead of going to their destination. Like they're supposed to be doing it at the Northern Water Tribe, which is, what are they supposed to be doing at the Northern Water Tribe? Why are they going?
So Aang can
learn
waterbending.
Because it's the first one he has to learn. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but
why
did I forget that?
They stop, and I think we're still in the Earth Kingdom at this point. And
are we though? Because don't they?
I think so.
Because they have the Fire Nation thing, and there's a bunch of firebenders everywhere, and Fire Nation individuals everywhere. And then the next episode, there is a Fire Nation individual called the Deserter. So I think they're not. I think they're in the Fire Nation.
I don't know. I don't think that we go into the...
Did they ever
we might.
Did they ever come out of the Fire Nation when they went to the Crescent Island?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. Yeah, anyways, that doesn't really matter. It's not all that pertinent to the episode. But they do run across a whalebone sword that Aang and Sokka run into.
Yeah, does he keep that?
I don't know. Really they'd probably give it back to Bato.
Well, is it Bato's or is it somebody else's?
Doesn't he already have a whalebone? Or whalebone?
Sokka?
Yeah.
It's not whalebone. I think it's actual steel.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because he has the boomerang, which is, I'm pretty sure, steel.
Yeah, I know that.
And then he has his club. And then he has that little... there's a club and the little sword thing. That's the same thing I'm thinking of. It's got the little ball on the end.
Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking. I think he has a dagger that's like made out of like teeth.
Okay, so I don't think he has the whalebone sword.
Okay, so he might have kept it.
I would have kept it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then they run into an arrow from the Water Tribe that they find has been singed.
And this is where Sokka really becomes like, I don't know, like a Rambo or something.
Detective.
He's just sitting there like, oh man,
Sokka.
this happened. That means this happened. Like he lays out the entire battle scenario for everybody to see, everybody to imagine. And it's like, wow, Sokka, you're only 15 and you're super good at this stuff.
He's grown a lot in the last 2 years.
Physically and
yeah. So they follow Sokka's path down to the ocean front, and they're looking around like, oh, the track just stops here, or does it?
And they look over and they see this giant water tribe boat, which he gets really excited about because then he decides to tell us that it's the designation of his father's fleet, which is what you said was strange, that the boats are different enough to know.
Yeah, he goes over to the boat and he's like, oh, or they're like, oh, is it your dad's boat? And he's like, no, this is another one from the same. Or it's. I think he specifically says it's Bato's boat, doesn't he? Maybe.
No, I know because they don't know they don't know Bato's involved until they actually see Bato.
So I guess I'm just. It's weird that the boats like look very similar, but then so different from each other. You think they would just make like regular boats, just like uniform?
Maybe. Well, maybe it's just he's in the boat craft. Like we see small different things and things that we're good at.
Yeah. So then that's when Bato comes over.
And Bato is one of the members of his father's fleet. And the reason why he was left behind, and the reason why he's by himself, is because he was injured. And so they left him behind like a leper.
Yeah, like they're like, oh, you can't come here. But he doesn't seem all that injured.
Heath Ledger.
Like
leper.
He's got like a wrapping on his shoulder and like around his arm.
No, he's walking around just fine. But does it say how long he's been there? Because
I don't know. Yeah, he might have.
His like whole body's wrapped. His upper torso.
He should have just gone home. Like
it's like, all right, Bato, you're done for the day. Dishonorable discharge. What?
Yeah, so then that's when we were talking about before when they're like ignoring Aang, because Sokka and Katara are really into hearing what Bato's been up to and like hearing about their dad, and so they just sort of shrug Aang off to the side.
Yeah, they're so caught up in the moment that every time Aang tries to say something, they cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
Just they're in certain sentences that I don't think would cut off Aang, cut him off. Like Sokka goes, "Ooh, what's that smell?" And Aang was saying something actually important.
Yeah, he was like saying like something about how he was the Avatar and he had like all this power, and they're like, "Oh, I don't care about that."
And Sokka's like, "Oh, what's that smell?" And I'm like, "That's not a sentence that would, at least for me, anyways, wouldn't interrupt somebody else."
Yeah, and that's one thing I hate. I hate it in TV and movies, anywhere people are giving lines. I think it's especially bad in animated movies because it's voice acting only. But they'll say something and you can tell, and like if you look at the subtitles, you can tell that this sentence ends right there.
Yeah, there's that pause.
Yeah, they have to time it out, whereas they could have said like two more words before the people interrupted them.
Yeah, instead of there actually being a little overlap of interrupt.
Yeah.
Like when me and you talk over each other all the time. But instead of there being a little overlap, there's just like, oh my gosh, hey, what's that smell? Like I don't know why there's such a long pause, but there is, and it's notable.
You'd think that they would be able to time that better with voice acting. Just move them a little closer together.
You would think, but so there's a lot of bending in this episode. This is I'm gonna get these two confused a little bit, but this is the episode where Zuko is involved and Iroh is involved, and so we have Zuko, Iroh, and I can't remember the girl's name.
It's something like Zana or something.
Yeah, but she's really weird. She's this really cool chick, and she rides around this rat mole thing that she had a name for. She had a specific name for.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it wasn't like a hybrid name.
No.
Wow, we're not good at this today.
No.
But it had a specific name or something, and it could sense or not scent, but smell the scent.
It was basically like
it's pretty
really
much a giant tracker,
like a blood dog, like a bloodhound.
It's just and it's huge, and so there's like her, Iroh, and Zuko are actually riding on the back of this thing, kind of like the rhinos that the Fire Nation has, or the rhino horn thingies, to ride around, and it's pretty big, and it's jumping around and has this giant tongue that paralyzes people whenever it hits them, and so we see actually some really good bending, some really good choreographed bending in this episode between Aang and Zuko. And
yeah, well, that's later in the episode. Why don't we get a little bit?
Man, I really want to talk about that.
Yeah, we will talk about it. But
it's really good.
Where this lady that has the mole rat, the tracker, gets onto Zuko and Iroh's ship because she's tracking a stowaway, and they're like, "Oh, there's no stowaway on here." And then the thing rips the metal floor off of the.
That has to be inches of steel floor. And he just bites it and folds it like it's paper and spits it out.
So yeah, just rips it off and then grabs the stowaway that is on the ship, as we come to find out. An Earth Kingdom guy or something. He's all dirty. I don't know what he was doing, but so Zuko sees this and he's like, "Hey, you can track. Why don't you use this necklace that I have from Katara to help me track down the Avatar?" And I think how much did she charge?
I don't know, but I don't know, but to interject you here from that, it's a Shirshu.
A Shirshu?
A Shirshu.
A Shirshu. What's the name of it?
Like the actual individual like character name?
Yeah.
I don't know, but the species is a Shirshu.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't know how much she charges, but is that because they find her at this what we think is a bar brothel thing.
A house of ill repute.
And she's in there and she's arm wrestling this very big guy.
Yeah, that looks like Ryu from Street Fighter.
He just there's Street Fighter characters everywhere in this bar. And so she's actually winning the fight, and then she wins, and then she ends up with a whole bunch of different little coins, or what are those called? Little the pieces, the gold pieces, and copper pieces. I guess they're just called copper pieces, not
copper
coins.
Pieces. I don't know.
Pieces, I guess. Copper pieces, gold pieces, and silver pieces. And they're just sitting there, and she just rakes them in. Mm-hmm. And then, so she's obviously already making money.
Yeah.
And she does this on the side or something? Like, what
I don't know. I guess there's no way she could have beat that guy in arm wrestling. I'm just saying what
You're
we're all
real
thinking.
hung up on that, aren't you?
I'm just saying what we're all thinking. That's not possible.
His arms were gigantic.
They were massive. I don't care. All the
So
technique
big.
in the world could not have stopped that.
That's fair.
But yeah, so Zuko and Iroh enlist her services, and they go to find Katara and the Avatar.
And Aang is actually being very like angsty this episode. Like,
Yeah,
he's so upset that he's not the center of attention right now because he's the Avatar. You know, I can accept how it go to your head a little bit, but everybody's completely ignoring him. And there's at one point in time where they're in the little tent,
which has way too
abbey.
many animal furs in it.
So many animal furs. Like he just moved in and made it his own.
Yeah, there's no way they would have been carrying around all those animal furs.
No, and Aang just kind of he just gets sent over to the corner because not sent over to the corner, but he voluntarily goes over to the corner because he's messing with something, and Bato yells at him, and he gets all sad. But he's being so upset that nobody wants to actually talk to him or anything like that. But doesn't he actually? He leaves the abbey though, doesn't he? Like separately, like he goes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We forgot to mention they're at an abbey, which is basically like a monastery.
Pretty the same thing. It's just in this universe.
So yeah, he ends up leaving, and he's out sitting with Appa or I think he's sitting on the boat. And this courier from the Earth Kingdom comes up on one of those
little
dodo
ostrich
things,
thingies.
yeah, and is like, "Hey, do you know Bato? Or no, have you seen Bato?" And Aang's like, "Yeah, no, I know him." And he's like, "Okay, give this important military document to him."
He just takes his word at that.
Yeah, you're obviously not a Fire Nation spy, so take this document to Bato. And it's a map, apparently, with the location of the of Katara and Sokka's dad's troops and where the battle's going on at. And Aang sees this and is like, "Oh crap! If they know where their dad is,
they won't need me anymore. They won't hang out with me anymore."
Yeah. So,
which is a very selfish mindset.
Yeah, no, it is, of course. But he crumples the map up and then puts it in his hood
tunic.
Thing, whatever.
Never trust a guy with a tunic.
Which is pretty dumb because he should have just thrown it into the ocean. Like
yes.
if he really wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they knew that the plot was going to come back around to it, and so
I've never understood that. Which this is going to be a little tangent, but like I started watching Malcolm in the Middle recently. And there's these scenes where like people just give them things.
Only save it for your Malcolm in the Middle
Shut
podcast.
up! So let me finish this. And there's scenes where like there's something that could change the whole episode, but they're like, "Hey, don't burn that or get rid of it or anything at your disposal. Just hide it.
Yeah,
just put it over in like a corner somewhere.
Move it away.
Like I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
We can come back to it later.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So Aang has that little parchment, and then he meets up back with a gang, doesn't he? Or something like they come back together.
Yeah,
I do. That whole section for me is just gone out of my brain. I've forgotten it.
Yeah, they get back together somehow, and they keep bringing up how much they can trust Aang now because he is shown to be untrustworthy. So they're laying it on thick about how trustworthy
this
he is.
This is where they do the whole the ship in the rocks.
Yeah,
because then he goes, "Now Aang, you are the most important part of this. Without you, this whole ship goes down." They do,
but we can trust you.
But we can trust you, so
because
it's fine.
you've never hidden something from us that we needed to know about.
And then after they maneuver through those rocks, he's dubbing them whatever they are with little face paint, and he gives Sokka like the wise, and Katara's like the courageous.
A half moon, with a circle below it. I think a dot.
Is it? Yeah,
it's a half moon pointing down with a dot, and then Katara's is a half moon pointing to the right,
to the left. I think
it's the right with
what,
the dot.
What are you talking?
It literally does not matter.
There's no dot. But then, sure? But then he goes to paint on Aang's face. And does he actually get the paint on there? Or does
he gets the paint on,
and he says, "And Aang, you get this for most trusted or whatever.
You're an honorary Water Tribe member because we can trust you.
And then he's like, no. I think he wipes it off, like, oh, no, you can't do that. And then he tells them all about it. And Sokka freaks out.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But Sokka freaks out. And this is...
He's like, you were keeping information about my dad from me? How dare you?
And we were actually talking about, it'd be really cool if they would have done, like, we were talking about hour-long episodes or even just the 44-minute-long episodes. If they were to do that and we had, like, this cool parallelism, like if Sokka just got really mad at Aang and they broke off from there. And I mentioned it'd be really cool if Sokka just decided to go down, like, this dark path of if...
And become a bad guy.
I guess become this bad guy. If Aang was, like, come out of nowhere and was the reason Sokka's dad, hypothetically, got, like, murdered or something... And then you see, like, the parallelisms of Zuko becoming a great guy and, like, Sokka becoming this, like, bad guy. And, like, at the end of it, Zuko's this really good guy and, like, Sokka's this really bad guy. And that would be a really cool parallelism. But that doesn't happen at all.
No.
I think it'd make for a great show. Let's do a live-action Netflix version of this. Marvel, buy these rights. Come on.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about how they completed the trial, which was Sokka was doing his maneuvering around things, and it was going fine.
Cheated.
Yeah. And then at the end, there's like this wall of rocks that they have to get around. And you can't get around that.
No.
And so Sokka's like, hey, Aang, I need air in the sails. Like, put a lot of air in the sails.
Hey, benders that normally wouldn't be here if I was doing this by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and Katara, why don't you, like, just raise us up over the rocks so it's not even a challenge anymore.
And Katara moves. You mentioned how Katara just becomes this more powerful bender right there in like a second.
She's lifting that entire ship up.
She moves
like,
a lot of water.
Over the rocks.
A lot of water. But so that pretty much comes down to it, and then Sokka, like we said, Sokka freaks out, and then Aang goes on his way, doesn't he? Or Sokka and Katara go.
Sokka and Katara go off with Bato to go find the troops,
and they go to leave, and they start talking to Bato, and they're like, "Wait a minute, no, we can't do this. We have to be with Aang. That's our more important our duty. We've been this far away from our dad for so long. We can survive a little bit longer. We'll be fine." Which is also a crazy concept because your dad's fighting a war.
Yeah.
He could just die.
You should just go see him real quick.
Go see him for like a second and then go with Aang. Aang will be all right. He's just a little baby right now, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, so at this point, Aang goes back to the Abbey, and one of the sisters there, or the Lady Superior or whatever they call the woman in charge.
I think, Superior.
She was like, hey, there were these people here with this mole rat thing. And I don't even acknowledge that.
A sure.
She's like, yeah, there were some people here. One of the guys had a scar, and they were looking for you.
Zuko.
And Aang's like, oh crap. I think that she mentions that he had a necklace that they were tracking with, and Aang's like, oh no, that's Katara's necklace.
She might. I can't remember if she does or not.
I think that happens.
But anyways, so they end up finding Katara, which is they were using that necklace to track with. They find Katara and Sokka off by themselves, going back to Aang, and then they attack both of them. And in one fell swoop with that poisonous tongue, that Shirshu knocks out
Katara and Sokka.
Just takes them to the ground, and then they take them they put them on the little Shirshu, and where are they going with them? Like why do they need both of them those characters? Why do they need Katara and
they're
Sokka?
baiting Aang because they still their only goal is to get Aang. Really, they don't
Honestly,
care about
I would kill Sokka and use Katara as bait.
What?
Why? If I was June,
that's unnecessary.
June is the Shirshu rider. But if I was June, I would kill Sokka and I would just use Katara as a bait.
But that doesn't help them
because
it doesn't help. They're not like they don't have like a cell phone with Aang. Like if you don't come here, I'm going to kill Sokka. That's just to kill someone. Yeah, like.
But like just think about it though, because if you're going to use her as bait, you've already got a plan to use them as bait. Sokka's just one less body you got to worry about. Kill Sokka. Traditionally, you were saying in these shows,
they could have just left him there though too. Just
they
loaded him full of that poison and just let him.
Could have, but if you kill him, he's done. He's out of your sight. He's out of mind, man. Don't got to worry about him anymore. In Katara, traditionally, the men they're always like, "Man, I gotta go back and save my damsel in distress." Blah,
wow, that's
blah,
sexist, Harley. I can't even believe it.
Whatever.
I can't believe you'd say that.
Shrek's got to go save Fiona, man. Like stuff like that. You got to get your princess out of the tower.
But Fiona ends up saving him in the end.
And his one true love.
Somebody wants.
But anyways, so they do bait Aang with that, and they go back to the Abbey and they have this big fight. And this is what I wanted to get into earlier. They have some of the best choreographed, like not like I think Kung Fu Panda right now is the best animated choreographed like Kung Fu we've had. Fu. But Aang, like for being 2005, right? Being so early and just a low budget kids show. I think these guys have knocked the choreography out of the park.
It's pretty cool.
I was saying bending on bending, kung like the arts, like the battling, and it's so good. The choreography is brilliant.
Yeah, and you can really tell, like with the different styles, how they sort of keep true to the different style. Because Aang does the thing where he like goes behind Zuko and is like not really fighting him, but
Constantly
sort of just like mirroring him. Yeah, and so they keep it consistent throughout the series.
Like Zuko's constantly angry and just like attacking everything. He's just ka.
I think this is one of the longest fights that we've had to date.
Well, I was
because it goes on for a while.
It does go on for a couple minutes, but that first scene where they first start attacking, or when Zuko first starts attacking him, and they're jumping on that little, or they're attacking each other. There's in the circle of the middle of the abbey.
The well.
Well, not on the well yet.
Oh, not
but when they're just in the middle of the abbey, and they're
Okay.
fighting, and they're going back and forth, and Aang's just going around him and stuff like that. And then they both do that, like the Rocky punch or whatever.
Yeah.
And whatever that is.
And then the screen goes fire and
and they both fly back into both little sections, and they start that girl gets involved, June, because she's here to track the Avatar. Which is, I don't understand why she gets involved at this point.
Because she wants to get paid.
Well, yeah, she was paid to do a job. She was paid to track the Avatar.
I think they paid her to get the Avatar.
Now Zuko is there to take care of it. So why is she getting involved? Because she ends up messing up the whole thing for him. To be honest, that Shirshu messes up the whole thing because they're like, oh, well, if there's Shirshu here, we'll take all these this scent and put it right in front of him, which is his main like vision, like, and it knocks him out.
Because they explained it earlier that the Abbey makes perfumes.
Yes, because that was when Sokka goes, oh, what's that smell?
Or is that an ex machina?
No, it's not an ex machina.
Yeah, they set it up early in the episode, and then it came to fruition later.
That Appa thing was an ex machina episodes ago.
Okay, so they're fighting, and the Shirshu hits Appa with its tongue, and Appa sort of stumbles. But it's a 10-ton bison. You're not just. But
it's understandable though, like to be like you're like, oh, it's stunned for a second.
Yeah.
But then he's like, no, I'm Appa. I'm gonna beat you up. And Appa doesn't really do a whole lot in this.
Because
fight.
Actually later the Shirshu just keeps like hitting him with his tongue and actually knocks him out.
Although Appa does smash the Shirshu into the wall immediately.
Yeah.
Like when Appa first comes in, he flies into it and does his little roar thing and smashes him into a wall like 30 feet away.
Yeah. So so they're fighting, and it's mainly Zuko and Aang fighting, and then the Shirshu and Appa.
Yeah.
Going on at the same time. And I don't know exactly what happens, but Katara and Sokka get back up, and then they're going to go fight
They give him that like the smelling salts.
Yeah, the smelling salt.
Which is crazy to me that it's that strong.
I don't know if that's just how that works.
I don't think that's how that works at all.
I don't know.
Because there's venom in your body right now.
Yeah.
Because I read that thing about
poison.
I read that thing about the Shirshu. It says they're very poisonous, and they actually take the poison from the tongue of the Shirshu and use it
on arrows
as blow darts.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you're unconscious. Like, you're unconscious for a while. And he was just like, I'm just not getting a feeling back. He's like, he can move like one arm. And all of a sudden he's like, man, I'm good. Let's do this. Like, I guess I'm going to fight some stuff. Like, no, it's not how it works.
Yeah, so I think that Aang is in a rough place maybe with Zuko. Zuko's winning a little bit. And Katara and Sokka come over there. And they dump out a whole bunch of perfume on the ground. And then Katara bends it onto the Shirshu. And at that point you go... Because you've been seeing from the Shirshu's POV for a lot of the episode where...
It indicates different colors. Like,
yeah,
I think
because
the Earthbender was green.
Everything's black and white, but then whatever it's tracking has a different color.
Like the trail that scent that leads to him. Like I think the Earthbender from in the boat was green, and Katara was purple,
and then Aang was blue. But this is just a whole myriad of rainbows and all these different scents, and it can't really see anything anymore.
So it freaks out.
Yeah, and it just starts hitting it. It hits June, knocks her up against the wall, knocks her not really out.
Iroh knocks her up against Iroh. Iroh catches her.
And then Iroh's laying on the ground with her on
Zuko
top.
also gets hit by the tongue, and the Shirshu just runs off.
Yeah, it busts down a wall and just gets out of there because it can't see anything. It's blind at this.
I would also freak out if I went blind.
Yeah, probably.
Like, if just my last scent was just gone, I'm like, well, this is it. I'm just going to start hitting stuff.
So, yeah, Zuko, Iroh, and June don't have a way to get out of there, and Aang and Katara and Sokka get on their flying bison.
But I just want to say, Iroh, I love him as a character, but he was being kind of creepy in this episode. Like, he caught June, he lays down, and Zuko was paralyzed, and he just goes, Uncle, I don't remember you getting hit by the Shirshu, and he goes, shh. And then June gets angry.
He's just an old man.
Yeah, but he's just being a dirty old man at this point in time. And I don't know. It's like taking advantage of a drunk girl, I guess.
No, not at all like that.
I mean, he wasn't actually doing it, but
it's nothing like that.
He was holding on to her, and that was just it leads to things.
It's nothing like that.
I feel like the dad in Footloose.
Let's just agree it's nothing like that.
It leads to things.
And let's move on, because that's the end of this episode. effectively. But
Yeah.
Katara does get her necklace back because Aang grabbed it off of Zuko.
Which is not what I remember but obviously it's what happened. But it's not
Yeah.
what I remember because the season finale.
We've got a couple episodes before we get to that. Something could happen.
Yeah, how many episodes are in this season?
I don't know, like 22, 24?
So we've got a little ways to go. We've
Something
got
like that,
9
yeah.
episodes,
Yeah, that's just about does it for this episode.
You got any trivia for us?
Yeah, I do have a couple things of trivia
Well,
here.
roll us off some trivia there, Caleb.
Okay, in the scenes where June is arm wrestling in the local tavern, the man she is arm wrestling bears a striking resemblance to Ryu, or however you say that, from Street Fighter the game series.
That's what we said earlier.
So, yeah, and then in the same scene, there's a woman in the background who looks somewhat like Jin, which I guess is another character, I would say.
I haven't played a lot of Street Fighter, so I can't name all of them. But
Yeah,
you
no, I
know
wouldn't be
the
able
main,
to.
the Rio or Rio.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
So yeah, we actually brought that up while we were watching, and I think that's meant to do that. I still think that there's no way she would have won that arm wrestling competition.
It's fine.
According to iTunes, this is the lowest rated episode. However, many believe it to be The Great Divide. Really? This one and that one are on equivalents?
The Bato of the Water Tribe?
Yeah.
No, it can't. What? I mean, I realize film and like TV is all subjective and everything, but this is a great episode. Especially
Yeah, I like this episode.
Especially if you're just to rate the choreography alone.
Yeah, it was cool fights and stuff.
It's such a good episode. Like, I hate to be like that meathead where like I like action films, but like that, the choreography was beautifully done.
I'm sorry, iTunes. You're wrong.
I respect your opinion, but no.
Yeah, you need to change your opinion. Okay, and this is the first episode in which Appa actually engages people in combat using his size and ability to airbend to great effect.
Yeah, he does smash his tail around a lot. I
Yeah.
forgot about that, but he does it really late. Like, you see them running across the top of that building, and then the Shirshu is running away, and the Shirshu's off the screen, and it shows Appa in the center of it. He turns around and slams his tail, and it's so slow, and it's such a delayed reaction that it doesn't do anything for the Shirshu. Or to the Shirshu. So he's not really doing a whole lot, but he does get to have his little action scene in there for a second. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, so yeah, we got a couple comments from this episode, and then we'll move on. But basically, the entire comment section is just people complaining that The Great Divide was the lowest rated episode. There's not really too much more. I think that triggered people a little bit.
That's fair. Hey, man.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I was upset about it. Okay, yeah, that's it for this episode. Let's move right along to the next one.
The Deserter.
Yes, I like this episode. I forgot what it was at first. Usually I can see like the opening of the episode and be like, okay, so this is what sort of takes place. I had no clue.
I forgot what it was only because I thought that this episode happened in the second season for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
Or even later on in this season. Like, I don't know why.
Right off the bat, it had a noticeably different look. I think everything was like washed over in like sort of an orangish hue that I think that alluded to the fact that they were in the Fire Nation, which I don't know if they are still. But they do, right off the bat, they see like wanted posters hanging up because they're going to go to this festival that's taking place.
And there are 4 different wanted posters.
Yes.
And his is just over top of all of them.
Yeah, the avatars is just large.
It's gigantic. And you
then,
see the Blue Spirit.
Yeah, the Blue Spirit's down there. And then once he pulls that off, there's 2 more.
Well, there was one over to the left side corner that didn't really. It was one of the smaller ones, and it's
Okay.
It's one of the characters that shows up in a little bit. His
Yeah,
name
in
is
the bottom left there was a
Jay.
what's it? Is it Jay? It's something like that.
It
It might have been. Is it Jin? Is that what they were talking about?
It might be Jin, but then it once they pull that off and they walk away from their little pillar of wanted posters. Like, there's just a pillar in the middle of nowhere of wanted posters, which I think is cool.
I think it's like it's sort of like a map. Like you're here, you go here because there's 3 different sides to it. And we only saw
like
one.
going to a gas station, there's like a bulletin board and there's stuff on there.
Yeah.
That's where you would put it. But also then it zoomed in on one of them and it zoomed in on Zhongzhong's how did they pronounce that?
John Martian Manhunter.
Yes,
Right. That's who it is.
DC crossover.
It's a crossover with Avatar. No, I think it's Jong.
It's Jeonj or Jeonng.
Jeong.
Then that again.
Jong.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Let's
Jeong.
just say let's call him JJ.
JJ.
Actually, I don't like that. Just call him Jong.
Just call him JJ.
Or the deserter. Yeah, so they see that they don't know who those people are at this point, but they're going to the fire festival where it's something to do with fire in the Fire Nation.
I think it's
Who
just
would have expected that? A fire festival.
I think
in the
it's
Fire
just
Nation.
a fellable. I think it's just a festival to celebrate the Fire Nation and how
The
good
Fire
they are.
Nation. Okay.
Because just to remind everybody how good the Fire Nation is.
So they get these. They put on these disguises. Sokka and Katara have hoods, and they look really shady. And then Aang just pulls his up over his head.
It looks really dumb.
Yeah, it looks pretty dumb, and you could totally tell who that was.
Yeah,
He just got his clothes on.
I don't know how people just like are walking in public and just don't notice. Like I've been to big cities and I see a lot of people. And I'm like, okay, that guy's got really long hair. Man, that guy's got dreads. I mean,
Yeah,
okay, that
guy's got a blue arrow tattooed on his
yeah,
forehead.
that guy's got a giant blue arrow tattooed on his forehead. Exactly. How do people just not notice that?
I
Like,
don't know.
Hey, that's the Avatar, which happens in a little bit when they're on the stage.
But that's full, like, he just airbent too, so it's...
Yeah, but like they go up to this stage and there's this magician who does this really cool thing first when he's introduced.
Well, okay, but first they go down in there and everyone's wearing, like, masks.
Yeah, didn't we establish they got their masks?
Well, no, I just said that when he pulled his, like, hood
my
up
bad,
over...
yeah.
So, they go down
They
into
bought
the
those
festival,
masks.
and then everyone's wearing these masks, and so they thought their disguises were good, but then they go and buy masks. And so they have that on. Aang's got this real goofy-looking face. Sokka's really sad.
Yeah, and then it starts out opposite of that. And
Yeah, they switch it.
No, and then just switches them. It's really cool. But so they end up at this stage to watch this magician perform.
Yeah, he's like a magician firebender.
And he turns fire into like doves.
Yeah, like,
And they're like, "Whoa, let's go watch this guy."
that doesn't work, though.
No, it doesn't. But it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
If somebody just turned fire into doves in front of you. Also, they can earthbend and they can firebend, but you're gonna call the bluff. That's where you
At
draw
the doves, yeah.
That's where you draw the line.
There's no dove benders.
That's just where you draw the line.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
Magic isn't real, but you can burn fire from your fingertips.
Yeah, of course. Harley, come on. This is the world of Avatar. Have you ever seen a dove bender before? No, I didn't think so.
Didn't you get a chance to answer that? But
Okay,
sure.
yeah, so after the whole dove fiasco, the guy moves on to a new trick, which requires a volunteer from the audience.
Which I remember you and Elijah talking about this. Had a callback to this same voice actor who was Robin in the Teen Titans.
We think it's the same guy.
And I'm pretty sure it is. And he's back again as this the stage performer.
Magician.
Yeah, the magician. And so he calls up Katara.
Yeah,
and Aang volunteers.
Aang's rearing to go. He wants to get up on stage and do a trick, but...
And they're like, no, we got to keep our head down. And then he goes, what about you, young lady? And it's Katara. And she goes, oh, okay. And so she goes up there and he performs this really cool trick.
He ties her to a chair.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
And then he says he's going to tame the dragon.
That's some BDSM nonsense, guys.
And, let's save that for your BDSM podcast. For your 50 Shades of Grey
in
podcast.
NSFW.
But he firebends a dragon, and it's like moving around, then he lassos it. And then he's saying that, he's losing control. But
he creates all this about fire.
The dragon.
He creates all this out of fire.
He did the dragon. Just dissipate. Just let it go away. It's not. There's no mystery. There's no.
I don't know. Like
tension.
It's clearly an act. Even the way he talks, he goes, "Oh no, it's getting away from me." It's clearly an act.
And it heads straight for Katara.
And Aang just goes and jumps up on stage, and he airbends the heck out of it, and the fire just turns to confetti. Not doves this time.
Yeah, that was
confetti.
That was even dumber than doves.
Wow, you can't get past that.
I can see like the illusion where he does the fire like up in front of him and then releases the doves. So you can't see in front of the fire. But this is...
magic.
This is like fire everywhere, and then it's just confetti. That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Maybe he's part confetti bender.
No, that's dumb. But Aang jumps up there, knocks his mask off, and airbends the dragon away before it hits Katara.
All in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
But he does that little thing with the band in the background when everybody's like, boo, and he starts doing the
he's like doing a
dancing.
jig.
And you hear the boink, 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 boink,
And then they're like, hey... That's the Avatar.
Yeah, that's the Avatar.
Get him.
Yeah, and then they do their whole running away thing, and that's where we meet one of the guys that was on the poster, I think his name is Jay. I can't remember.
It's something like that.
It's something close to that resembles. But he goes, "Hey, follow me!" And these kids, these small children, just immediately start following this guy, and he leads them into an alley, which is already a red flag, but leads them into an alley, and he starts throwing bombs and stuff. So clearly he's not an actual firebender, which is what we had discussed. And the police are just we're assuming they're the police because they haven't been to any fire, so they're not. And then they're not in the army or whatever.
Yeah. So they get into this dead end, and then they call Appa down, and Appa comes and saves them, and they fly off. And then just like in the end of Mulan, Che, I think is his name, throws a bomb into the fireworks, and everybody cheers. And the festival is a giant success.
Yeah, Appa even lights the big torch on his way out.
Yeah.
Good job, Appa. He gets some fire stuck to his tail. But and then he takes him to the forest. He's gonna take him to the deserter, and they get caught up by what are these terribly. I don't know how I want to disrespect their grammar, but I can't put words together. To
Yeah, they're not. They don't English
Ironic.
good.
They don't speak good.
No.
But so they're like these. They're almost like they're swamp people. They almost look like swamp enders.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
But then
Spoilers.
And then they lead all of them to the deserter, and then Aang ends up going into the deserter's tent without them actually wanting him to go in there.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, this is a great firebending master, and I'm going to go learn some firebending. And
the guy tells him no, straight up. He's like, no, you're not disciplined enough.
And then, like, he's saying that, and then for the first time, I think, outside of the northern, or the Crescent Island, with the Temple of the Avatar Roku appears in front of Zhang Zhang.
Well, see, what I'm reading here is that it's Zhang Zhang's vision. Like, he's meditating, and he's in between worlds.
Okay. So he's actually going into the spirit.
Like, he's kind of in the spirit world. He's kind of in the real world right now.
So
he's in touch with the spirit world really well. But it's a vision he's having right now.
Okay, but do the avatars reincarnations exist in the spirit world?
I have no idea.
So, like, if Aang were to go into the spirit world, he could, like, find all the different reincarnations?
Did that not happen in Korra?
Well, that's what I'm sort of dancing around, because I don't want to bring up Korra on the Avatar podcast.
We bring up Korra every single time.
But, yeah, because Korra goes to the spirit world, and I don't think she finds Aang.
That's fair. But when she does meditate, she can talk to her past selves. But it's not. But Zhang Zhang is not an avatar, so I don't know how that would work.
But yeah, he sees Roku, and Roku's like, because he doesn't want to teach Aang. He's like, you haven't learned.
He gets very mad about it.
You haven't learned waterbending. You haven't learned earthbending. How are you going to learn fire, which is like this destructive force?
Yeah, he talks about how waterbending is like this peaceful bending, and how earthbending is a like substantial bit.
Solid.
It's solid, and it's for substance. And he goes, how can you learn to control firebending when you haven't even controlled the easy ones yet?
But yeah, Roku shows up and is like, hey, I've learned over 1,000 different lifetimes as 1,000 different people. I've learned each of the 4 elements, but you don't think that I can do it now? And basically, like, why do you doubt me?
Yeah, like, I'm the Avatar, man. Just lock it up. And so he's like, oh, Avatar Roku, which I think is really cool that I realized Roku was the last bender. But also this guy's a firebender, so he identifies. Yeah, he might hold him to a higher esteem as opposed to Kyoshi.
Yeah.
Which is a waterbender, right?
No, earthbender.
Earthbender.
Yes.
I'm sorry. And so I think he'd hold him to a higher esteem as opposed to Kyoshi walked in and be like, hey, listen here, which Kyoshi's insane. She's murdered people. She's insane. And so I think if she just showed him like, hey, do this, he'd be like, no.
Yeah.
So Avatar Kyoshi.
Yeah, after that, Zhang Zhang agrees to train Aang. And he the next day, I think, is when they start, and he's like, okay, get into this real deep stance, and now breathe.
And concentrate.
Yeah. And Aang's like, wait, what? He's like, no, you need to concentrate. And then he leaves, and Aang shows up like a couple hours later in his tent. Is like, hey, I've been out there just breathing and feeling the sun on me. What is that supposed to do for my training?
He's like, I've been out there for hours. And he goes, do you want to stop breathing?
Yeah.
Like the guy has an answer for everything. And so he takes them, and they go out to the tent, or outside the tent again. And Katara I feel like has not moved this entire time. Like, I feel like they've been there for a couple of days. She has not moved from the riverside at all, just doing her one little trick with the water.
Yeah, she's just been over there with the water.
And so Zhang Zhang, or Jing, however you pronounce that name, man, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering that for anybody in that nationality. But he takes a leaf, like he catches it in midair, which is also cool. And he burns it, like he singes it.
And right in the middle.
Yeah, there's still just a little flame there. You can see the orange on there. And he hands it to Aang, and he goes, maintain that. Do not let it reach the outside.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
But Aang wants, because he complained that he wanted to not breathe. He wanted to shoot fire from his fingertips earlier. So he does not have any patience for that.
No. Well, also, you have to remember that Aang is just 11.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I had a lot of patience for anything when I was 11.
He's 12.
Pretty sure he's 11.
No, 12. 112 years old.
It is the one age that I did not look up.
Well, yeah, there you go.
I can tell you how old everybody else is, though.
Yeah, but he's sitting there, and immediately after Zhang Zhang leaves, he actually creates fire out of the singed place, and he's holding it in his hand, flipping it around.
He's doing a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, how did that guy on the stage do it? And he spins around.
Katara's like, hey, don't do that. You're going to, like, hurt yourself.
Yeah, Katara's back in mom mode.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, don't do that, kid. The hilarious thing.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, oh, how did that guy do it on stage? And he puts it up over his head and, like, spins around and just blows it out everywhere. And it's a real slow motion scene. And the music wells up.
And he's, like, all happy about it. And then he looks over and the flames sort of clearing her way. And you see Katara has her hands up and is, like, screaming. And he immediately, like, the happiness goes off of his face. And he's like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah, it's like, I just messed up Katara.
Yeah.
Big time. And and you can see her, he jumps over there and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she's like, no. And then she runs off. And you can just see her, like, as she's running away. I feel like they just completely colored her hands blue.
Yeah, they were red.
And but when she actually gets to the river and puts them under the water,
before that,
little scars.
Before that,
Sokka
freaks out on Aang and, like, tackles him to the ground. It's like, you burned my sister. How dare you're gonna rot in hell.
This is the second time,
like, yeah,
in 2 episodes, Aang has done something against Sokka's family, and Sokka's freaked out. Like, how are they still friends, man?
The other one I can see is justified. This is ridiculous. I don't think Sokka gets the right. He don't have a right to tackle somebody.
Sokka's very family oriented.
It doesn't matter.
His mom's gone.
It does not matter.
His dad could be gone.
You know what?
Don't know. He's only got Katara left.
It's
man.
Katara's fault.
I guess grand, but.
It's Katara's fault. She should have not been standing over. The guy's firebending for the first time, and you're going to stand right next to him?
Ooh, what's that?
Or why don't you pull some water up and, like, have water ready to douse him off?
Yeah, it's what you said. You go. Hasn't she fought Zuko before in previous episodes? Like,
and she's gotten burned.
Wouldn't she know how to defend herself, like, immediately?
Yeah, he's such an idiot. And Sokka is just way out of line. I did not like him in these episodes.
I did. Sokka's just looking out for his little sister, man.
No, he doesn't have a right.
He doesn't have a right to look at. Would you look out for your little sisters?
Absolutely not.
Not even Morgan?
No, absolutely not. I'd let them die.
Wow. Morgan, it's okay. I still like you. Not that means much. But wow, that's insane.
No, if it was their fault, what am I going to do? Tackle someone? No. I'd be like, hey, let's look at this situation rationally. Oh, you were being an idiot? Okay, I guess you deserve what you got. Like
she wasn't, like, standing right over Aang's shoulder when Aang was just firebending all over the place.
He is firebending for the first time.
Was, like,
you gotta know. You gotta know what's gonna happen.
She's fine.
And when he said, "Hey, let's do it like this guy did it," he doesn't know how to control that. He's just gonna make a giant fireball.
Yeah, but after he's, like, bouncing around, like juggling it everywhere, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was
doing some pretty cool tricks, and then he's like, "Oh, let's do this." Then he go, and like, no. That's insane.
Yeah, so
he goes from controlled to insane in 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. But this entire episode, John's been, like, preaching at him, like, you need control. You need to not just use fire for destruction, but you need to learn how to master the destruction for yourself. And just
discipline was his big thing.
Yeah, discipline. And he's saying that he used to have a student that just wanted to use it for destruction. And enter Admiral Zhao. We find out that Admiral Zhao was his student.
We find out that, but Aang doesn't know yet.
Yeah, Aang doesn't know it yet. But Admiral Zhao comes up with like 3 ships, and apparently they found out. I don't know if they found the location of the Avatar or Zhang.
I'm not sure. I'm going to assume the Avatar because that's what Admiral Zhao is focused on right now. I don't think he would divert his course to Zhang, and then he just happened to trip upon Zhang. He's like, oh man, my old mentor.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. He goes, oh, my old master. And he actually creates this giant wall of fire. And nobody else on the ships get off to do that. But Admiral Zhao just like, hey, and splits it like a curtain.
Yeah, I think with Zhang, what it is he was like a commander in the army or whatever. And he realized that fire is this destructive force. And now he doesn't want to use it for anything destructive. He wants to be sort of like at peace with it. And that's why he left the military.
Yeah, obviously, the deserter. That's where that comes in. Which I'm pretty sure you can be executed in the American military for
probably.
Desertion. Pretty sure that's what it's punishable by death.
But yeah, so
so from a military standpoint, Admiral Zhao has every right to try to murder this guy.
Yeah, I guess. But Admiral Zhao comes up there and he's like, "Hey, where's the Avatar? Would you give him back to me?" And Zhang was like, you might not want to mess with him. He's one of the most powerful benders I've ever seen.
Which I wanted to mention that we haven't seen any real powerful bending from Aang.
Well,
except for the
Avatar states.
Yeah, but those are like Roku said, 1,000 different avatars.
That's fine.
So like when you're the Avatar, like here's your baseline of like being the most powerful bender of all time. Like you're already more powerful when you activate the Avatar state.
That's what he's saying.
But when you have to remaster the elements and all you have is one of them mastered, that doesn't mean you're a powerful bender. I just
Yeah,
feel
it
like
does.
you're
It
a mediocre
absolutely
bender.
does.
You're a mediocre bender.
He can bend 3 elements.
I'm
As of
setting
right
him
now.
to a higher standard.
I don't care. He's still one of the most powerful
Because he's the
benders that
Avatar.
Zhang Zhang has ever seen.
Oh,
And that's what he said. That's what he said.
Wrong.
No, he's not.
Wrong.
But yeah, anyway, and then with some magic of his own, Zhang Zhang blows up this, like, I guess, like a fireball around him and then disappears.
Almost like the circle that Aang makes in the Avatar state to be in the iceberg.
Yeah, kind of like that.
But it's fire.
But then he's gone after the fire dissipates.
But so he disappears and they run off. So all of Admiral Zhao's minions chase off after the deserter.
Mm-hmm.
And then Admiral Zhao and Aang are just there. And now Aang's like, oh man, you're the disciple that Zhang Zhang had that decided to be a crazy man.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention that after... so, yeah, I don't think... Did you say that Katara ran over to the river and found out she could heal herself with water?
I was getting to that, but we skipped past that.
Yeah, we went back a little bit.
Proceed.
So, yeah, she goes over there and she's, like, crying in front of the pond or whatever it is. And she sticks her hands down in there to cool it, and then they glow blue. Not unlike the Avatar state for Aang. They glow
Avatar
about
Katara.
Yeah, Avatar, the next series. But her hands light up, and then she pulls them out of the river, and all the burns are gone.
Yeah, they're just gone, which is pretty cool.
And so she runs back over to talk to Aang and be like, hey, it's all cool, I'm fine now. And Aang's like, I'm never going to firebend again. And she's like, well, you're going to have to if you're going to defeat the Fire Lord. And he's like, nope, not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it.
It's a selfish mindset, Aang. Come on. You're not going to defeat this guy, this firebender. But, fight fire with fire, man. That's the only way to win. But
I don't think that's what that's saying from.
So back to fast forwarding where we were with Admiral Zhao and Aang now fighting.
Yeah, they're gonna fight.
There are 3 ships in the river, and they're fighting. Aang's not really doing a whole lot of fighting. He hasn't actually done blasted a single air anything.
Well, yeah, he looks
hasn't been at all.
After he learns that Admiral Zhao was the student. He's like, oh, you don't know how to control the fire. You just want to use it for destruction.
Which it shows that before Aang actually mentions that. It shows when he first shoots a fire at Aang.
Yeah, and it burns the forest.
It starts burning the tree right there. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And then Aang decides to jump over to the boats, and Admiral Zhao starts lighting the boats on fire, trying to kill Aang. And he goes,
and Aang's just dodging out of the way. He's just moving around.
And he goes, "You've lost this battle." And Admiral Zhao goes, "How? You haven't even landed a single blow." And he goes, "I didn't have to." And the camera pans out and it shows
he's
all
burned
3
ships to the
on
ground.
fire, and one of them's actually halfway sunk into the water, which I think is pretty cool. It's a testament to us how incredible of a firebender that Admiral Zhao is, even though he lost to Zuko, and how and wise Aang is as a bender, which he spent a lot. 12. He is 12. I googled it.
You didn't have to. I knew what it was. You didn't trust me.
I didn't know.
You didn't trust me?
12 years as a bender. Which how old are they when they first learn how to bend? We said 3?
I don't
4?
know. He's been doing it for a while because he had the tattoos when he was
very young.
Very young.
Well, because in Korra, when she starts to come out there and she starts doing different elements, and she's like, "I'm the Avatar. You got to deal with it." She's like 2.
Save it for a core podcast.
I will. Stop ignoring me.
And
continue the conversation.
No, yeah, we're gonna move on with the episode, and I actually don't remember. I don't really remember anything after that point. After the ships go down, is there a whole bunch left? I know not a whole bunch, but
I think they just sail off into the sunset.
Yeah,
Raiders of the
probably
Lost Ark style.
because as they always do.
As they always do.
They always just are on Appa, flying away.
Every single episode, man. They're just like, all right, bye. And then it shows the Jay or Che or Chafe, whatever his name is.
Che. Chey.
Che. All right, it shows him. He's coming
Che
back.
Guevara.
He's like, all right, guys, where'd everybody come back? Where'd
They
all
just
go?
left him.
They just left, man.
Zhang Zhang and all of those people just walked off, just left him.
I think Zhang Zhang comes back, though, in one of the later episodes.
Maybe. I don't remember, actually.
In the episode where they all come together. The family reunion episode.
Spoilers. Maybe.
We're going to get to it eventually, kids. So.
But yeah, I think that's the end of the episode.
You got any trivia for this episode, buddy?
Yeah, I got a little bit of trivia.
Roll that trivia out, then.
When Sokka argues that they should not go see Zhang Zhang, Katara says it wouldn't hurt to at least talk to him. But ironically, Katara later gets hurt of the firebending Aang learned from Zhang Zhang. Well, not really, because Zhang Zhang was like, hey, why don't you keep this fire contained? And Aang was like, no. And then starts juggling it. So I wouldn't put that on Zhang Zhang. Next piece, when Aang saves Katara from a firebending magician, he uses the same move that the shadowed airbender in the opening sequence used.
Mm-hmm.
So he just
I
like
noticed that
throws
too.
like a tornado air around.
Which is cool, and we see it in a bigger style this time because in the introduction it shows the shadowed individual comes down and does it and then he disappears, but in the in Aang's part he does it and instead of him just disappearing like the camera just goes back, the camera pans out and it shows the full extent of his power.
Yeah.
Of the wind, I'm not
Yeah, you said that
tornado.
he hadn't done any powerful bending.
I guess just nothing to impress me yet.
This is the only episode where Zhao appears, but Zuko does not.
Really.
Yeah, this is our first solo Zhao episode.
So we're gonna say Zuko is the main villain of season 1, right?
Of course.
So and like every good villain setup always has the guy behind the screen, which is
The man behind the curtain?
the man behind the curtain, which is
Fire Lord Ozai.
the Fire Lord Ozai, and they always have their minions, their little peasants. So right now, Ozai has 2, and he has both Zuko and Admiral Zhao.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because Zhao's just, I think, because he elevated Zhao up even to Admiral.
Well, I guess you would make Admiral Zhao the actual
So he's-
second command bad guy.
Yeah, he's like the big bad guy. I think that he's like the big bad guy for season 1, where Zuko is just like a threat.
Yeah.
Zuko's more of a character bad guy. Admiral Zhao's like the overarching presence, and then Fire Lord Ozai is even like above that. Like,
Yeah, well, like I said, there's always the guy behind the curtain, the guy controlling everything, the mind behind everything,
Yeah.
and then there's the guy who's actually doing the groundwork,
Mhm.
the guy who's actually working, like the Princess Bride characters, Andre the Giant versus the guy who drinks the poison.
Uh-huh.
There's always the foot soldiers, and there's always the guy in the general.
Yep.
But anyways,
This last piece of trivia, this is the only known time when an avatar has broken the order in which the elements are mastered. Oh, it's because, yeah. So apparently,
because he hasn't learned earthbending at all yet.
yeah, so he learned airbending, and then the next one would be water.
We're gonna say he's
Because
mastered airbending, right?
That's what, yeah, he's definitely mastered airbending. The next one he moves on to is water, which is what Korra is, so it's still in the same sequence. But then it should be earth next, and then fire. But he does that in reverse order. So even though he hasn't mastered fire, he still started bending fire before he should have.
Does he? Okay, I guess it would be bending fire. He didn't create fire, but he bent fire.
Yeah, he bent it.
I was gonna argue that for a second, but I just destroyed my own argument. Never mind. Never mind. Any more trivia for us?
No, that's it. And with that, guys, that's going to be the end of the episode. If you guys like this episode, you can go over on iTunes and rate and subscribe. You can email us at Boys in the Iceberg, which any questions sent there we would address on the podcast. And you can follow us on Twitter at Boys in the Berg. As always, I've been Caleb Bader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you here next week.
Bye.